Hey guys, this is Post-Production Pi with srlounge.com. Alright guys, so we're going to move on from the histogram to our adjustments tools, and the first one we're going to talk about is the crop overlay. That's the first one that we have in our different adjustment tools bar right here. And don't get this toolbar confused with the actual toolbar that we have in each module. And you can see that toolbar by actually hitting T, and it shows up at the bottom of the content area window. This is actually two completely different things. These are our adjustment tools, this is the toolbar. So I'm going to hit T again to toggle that off. And let's hit R to take us to our crop overlay. You can also click that button right there, but the shortcut is R. Now that we're in the crop overlay, there's several different ways that we can adjust our crop. The most basic is starting with the outside of the image. We can actually just click and drag up or down, left or right to move our crop around. When we let go, the crop sets, and when we hit R again, it locks that crop in place. Now if I hit R again and take me back into the crop overlay, I can reset that crop if I don't like it by hitting reset right here, or by hitting Alt-Control-R or Option-Command-R on a Mac. Another way that we can adjust our crop is by adjusting the edge lines or by adjusting the corners. So I can grab a corner and I can pull it in however I like. I can also grab an edge and pull that in as well. Now, it's important to note that as long as this little lock here is actually locked, it's going to lock the aspect ratio of the image, meaning we can't change the image to be a different format. So if I unlock this, I can actually basically free transform this crop to turn it into a square image. I can turn it into a super wide image by pulling up the bottom and then adjusting the top, however I like. Now, another way of adjusting is once we've adjusted this crop, we can move this crop area around by clicking in the crop area and just basically dragging. Alright, so I'm going to hit Alt-Control-R again or Option-Command-R on a Mac to reset that crop. And let's go over another way that we can use to adjust our aspect ratios. So we can go to this original menu right here, and this is going to pull up a bunch of commonly used aspect ratios that we can choose for our image. So here's 16:9, 16:10, which are film ratios, and then you have all common print size ratios right here. So we have 1:1, which is square. We have a 4:5 and 8:10, which is the exact same ratio. We have a 2:3/4:6 ratio, which is the standard ratio. And we can choose whatever we want, or we can enter in our own ratio right here. Now, adjusting the aspect ratio is super simple. It doesn't matter what numbers you put in, so long as the ratio is what you want. All right, so once again, I'm going to hit Alt-Control-R again, or Command-Option-R on a Mac to reset my crop. So for example, if we typed in 15:30, and we hit OK, this is a 1.5:3 ratio crop. So it doesn't really matter the numbers, it's just going to take that ratio that we put in. And now let's go over the crop frame tool, which is another way we can use to adjust our crop. So with the crop frame tool, we're just going to select an area to crop. And what it's going to do is it's actually going to constrain to the proportion that we have selected, which right now it's constraining to the original aspect ratio. So I can set my crop wherever I want, let go, and it'll automatically adjust my crop from there. I'm going to click reset again. And let's go back to our crop view, and I'm going to show you guys different crop overlays that you guys can use to match different types of compositions when you crop. So all we got to do to access the different crop overlays is hit O when you have the crop overlay activated. So by hitting O, we can go from thirds, which is what you see here, to the golden ratio. This is kind of the original version of the rule of thirds. We can go from that to diagonals. We can go from that to triangles, to the golden spiral, and then to a standard grid, and back to thirds. So these different overlays will help you to match different types of compositions for your images. So most typically how we're cropping, I'm just going to show you guys the way that we typically do it. We hit R to get into the crop overlay. I'll adjust my crop by just twisting a little bit or by dragging it on a corner, and I call it good. If I need to adjust my actual aspect ratio, I'm just going to dial it in directly unless we're trying to print to one of the common aspect ratios, which is listed here. Lastly, I want to show you one other cool way to adjust a horizon line or to fix a crop for a horizon. All we do is we use the straighten tool right here, and the straighten tool is super simple. You're just going to click on one point on the horizon and drag across so that it's a straight line, and when you let go, it's going to automatically crop it to make sure that that line that you just drew is perfectly straight. So it's a great way to fix any image that has strong lines. It could be a horizon line, it could be stair steps, it could be bricks, whatever it is, it'll fix those crooked images really, really quickly and easily. Now the last thing I wanted to mention was this constrain to warp. With that selected, all it does is it makes sure that if you're warping the image or adjusting it by transforming it down below, constraining it to warp will make sure that no gray edges appear. So it'll automatically adjust the crop based on the warps to make sure that the image is displayed from edge to edge. So when you are transforming the image via a lens correction, it is a good idea to turn on this constraint to warp so that your image shows from edge to edge. Otherwise, you might have a little gray area towards the edges when you adjust that transform. All right, guys, so I'm going to hit Alt-Control-R one last time to reset out this crop. We're going to hit R again just to jump out of the crop overlay tool, and let's go on to the next tutorial.